Hey everybody, it's Kevin Hogan with the Gold Prospectors Association of America, and today is the day that I can finally start talking about this machine, the Minelab Gold Monster 2000. I gotta tell you, I've had this machine for a while, and boy, have I beat this thing up. I have taken this thing through the test garden. I started out in the VLF side and realized it just ate through everything on the VLF, so I moved over to the pulse induction shot side. And I guess the only thing I can say about it is I was shocked. I was shocked at the performance of this machine. Let me tell you a couple things about this machine that it is not. It is not a Gold Monster 1000. It is not. It may look like it. It's got the same pod. The control panel is similar, but not the same. But where everything lives is on the inside of this machine. I'll tell you what, to me, this is more of a naming convention than anything else. And you know, let's put that in perspective. You've got the GPX 4000 and the GPX 6000. You cannot compare those two machines together. They're in the same group, but they're not the same machines. All right, so that's really the way that I look at this thing. It is, it does a lot of things I just never expected it to do. Now, the other thing that the 2000 is not, it is not a pulse induction machine. I know there's been a lot of rumors that it's a hybrid pulse induction and VLF detector. It is a hybrid. They borrowed from pulse induction the signal processing. So here's a quote from a Minelab engineer. It is multi-frequency VLF, but it uses signal processing techniques more similar in behavior to that of a PI to get the kind of ground balance performance you only previously got with a PI. The hardware is not like PI. There's no PI hardware in it. But the effect of the multi-AU processing on ground noise handling is similar. The GM2000 can ground balance a little more like a pulse induction. Now, that's massive. So having a detector that is a multi-frequency gold detector, VLF, with PI processing, signal processing, is a huge advantage, and it has proven itself to me over and over and over in my test garden and also out here prospecting and mining. I was going to do this long video that went over every button and everything. Those will come. But quite frankly, with this being the release date, I bet you the only thing you really want to know is, does it perform? And let me tell you, it does perform. So it's not a pulse induction machine, and it is definitely not a Gold Monster 1000. All right, so what is it? Well, Minelab created new technology called multi-AU. And I cannot be more impressed with the way that this works, because to me, when I turn it on, I feel like, and I'm listening to signals, I feel like I'm listening to a pulse induction machine, because it does have a threshold, something that I was begging for forever. And I'll get into that one a little bit later. So what it does is it allows the multi-AU allows this machine an incredible ability to precisely ground balance and hold that ground balance so that it will recover targets that could get wiped out by a little bit of, let's just say, hot rocks. You know, a hot rock that a pulse induction detector could handle, that a VLF detector couldn't handle, and you would actually lose a signal. That's not going to happen with the Gold Monster 2000. And then little things like iron, little pieces of iron, the old rusted rooftops and things like that. There's a little bit of discrimination that comes in with the next technology that they created, which is called echo wave audio. Now, echo wave audio is, again, something that's just really, it's groundbreaking. So what it does in this machine, when it's coupled up with the multi-AU, is that when it comes across a target that it recognizes as a non-ferrous target, it's going to lock onto that, and it doesn't care about anything else. So I'm going to hear a hot rock, I'm going to hear that little iron signal, but I'm also going to be locked on that target. And it doesn't matter if it's a little surface target or it's a let's say a good sized nugget down around 5 inches. And I did test this in the test garden where I took this hot rock that I've carried around with me for years, because no machine has ever been able to eliminate this hot rock. Not a pulse induction, not a VLF. It's just that hot. So I took this rock, set it right beside where I knew where the known target is, which is right at 1 gram at 5 inches in very, very high iron mineralized soil. Put this beside it, and then took a little piece of iron and set that beside it, this old rooftop. And when I came across it, the signal locked. I got the tone for a ferrous targets, my hot rock and my junk iron, but inside of that was an absolute locked on target. Let me do a demonstration for you where I'm going to take a target, I'm going to put it on the ground, I'm going to put the hot rock next to it, I'm going to put a piece of iron to it, and you're going to hear that good target. This is the hot rock. I've carried this hot rock with me for 30 some odd years. Matter of fact, the last time I was at the Minelab offices, which was about almost 14, 15 years ago now, they tried to talk me out of this hot rock, and I won't give it up because I use it all the time. So this is something that even the 6000 cannot get rid of. The SDC, which is the known hot rock killer, will struggle with this target as well. So that's always going to be a signal. I just can't get rid of it. I'm try to balance right out on top of it. Not going to do it. I'm going through and make a couple of adjustments. I can lessen it. Maybe. Probably not. Let's try it again. Okay. I was able to lessen it, but still, no matter what, it's not going to go away, and it never has. Now, let's take the Gold Monster 2000, do the same exact thing. Got my handy little camera hooked up here, so hopefully you can see everything that I'm doing. I'll try to wipe the screen, and I'll try to stay in the sun, or out of the sun. All right, so it's gone through its automatic noise cancel. I'm on auto sensitivity and auto 2. I'm in normal soil, and I have my echo on, my echo wave on. Now, I'm going to listen to this soil for a moment and see if I can find some. Wow, that's way too hot for that soil. So definitely not going to work in benign. So I'm going to go up to the difficult soil. Machine just balances out just perfectly. So that's another big feature on this Gold Monster 2000, is that now you can actually pick your ground mineralization, and that's part of the multi-AU and all the other circuitry. When you turn this machine on, it defaults. Let me turn the volume down a little bit. When you turn this machine on, it defaults to sensitivity, auto 2. The echo wave turns itself on, and it goes to difficult soil. Now, that's the factory preset. And one of the first things I noticed in some of them, and especially in the test garden, there was some ground that wasn't as difficult as the machine saw. So it was dead quiet. I could move it around. There was very little going on. So I took it out of the difficult soil and put it into normal soil, and it worked perfectly. So don't always rely upon your factory defaults to be the greatest settings, is really what I'm saying. And then I've hunted in neutral or in the normal soil where I'm out running the machine, and then suddenly it's going to start getting noisy. The threshold I was getting a lot of pinging off the threshold, and I backed up, drug my pick through the ground, and saw a lot more iron mineralization. Reground balance, that didn't take care of it. So I put it into difficult soil, and it just immediately went to work in those soil conditions. The automatic settings on this machine are absolutely powerful. Auto 2 is extremely powerful. Now, what's really cool about the auto ground balance on this one, the auto sensitivity on this, is that inside you see a number, and this one is on 10, and that is what the machine has set. So we are like right on that ragged edge of being able to run this thing manually. which if it's at that high, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in auto and let it do its thing, because there's one other thing that auto does, and that's, let's just say that the ground conductivity or the ground mineralization comes in at like 9.4, 9.5. Well, it's going to kick it up to 10 and see if it'll work at 10. And if it doesn't work at 10, it's going to come back down. So for any of you that saw This Is Spinal Tap, I'm always looking for 11. And that's why I will play with this, because 11 is one better than 10. So I'm always going after things like that. So on this hot rock, this machine cannot get rid of this hot rock at all. It's there. I can lower my sensitivity and I can lessen the hot rock, but I will never actually get rid of it. And this is where this surprised me, because I'm going to run it on auto. So I'm back on auto 2. And now I'm going to put this little itty bitty tiny piece of gold there. And when I say small piece of gold, I am not kidding. I don't know. Hopefully I can get it on this camera. Maybe. I'm not sure. And I got to tell you, that threshold in this machine is by far one of the best thresholds I've ever heard. I mean, it is just so stable. And it just gives me so much information. Where is that little piece of gold? There it is. So there's a little piece of gold there with a chunk of iron. And that is 2.17 grain, which means it is not a third of a gram. Now I'm going to very carefully take that little piece of iron and get that out of there. Put this in our little pit. And you know what? I know some of you are saying right off the bat, well, that's sitting on the surface. Yeah, it is. But I challenge you to take any VLF detector out there and do what I'm getting ready to do. So, deal with it. And I know I just made somebody mad. Not intentional. So here's that little 2.17 grain nugget. Can the machine hear it? Yeah, it hears it. Now, if you're looking at the numbers up here, if you're looking at the bar, look at the bar. You've got a gold chance bar, which is the left and right bars that go across the top. Then you also have a TID, or a target identification number. So 00 to 15 is small gold. And then there's overlaps all the way up. So this is a small overlap. There's no doubt you're going to dig that. Now, also, did you hear the signal? I mean, listen to the signal. You hear the threshold, but you also hear that pipping sound, that tick tick, that really I don't even know how to. I don't know how to imitate that. Now, I'm going to take this little piece of iron, and this is the bane of everybody out there swinging the detector. These little tiny pieces of iron, old rusted rooftops and things like that. Drop that in there. Listen carefully. If you're looking at the ID, I get the occasional splash over, but it's still pulling through my gold target. Or I should say non-ferrous target. Now we're going to add a hot rock. And again, the hottest rock I've ever found. Now, listen to the sound. At this point, I'm listening to the sound. I'm not even looking at the target ID. because I hear something in here. Well, there's a hot rock. Okay, what do? We kick hot rocks out of the way. And we're right back there. 2.17 grains of gold. Not even a third of a gram. That defeated a little piece of iron. And absolutely I mean, look at the ID. We're going into the gold side, or the non-ferrous side. We're going into the non-ferrous side for briefly, but the fluctuation on the iron side is all over the place. So I'm going to kick my hot rock out of the way again. That's a solid signal, and I would dig that signal all day long. All right, before I get out of this though, I want to talk about threshold for a moment, because the threshold on this machine, when the first Gold Monster came out, my only complaint was that it didn't have a threshold. Because I need to hear the ground. I want to hear what's going on. And I will tell you that with this machine, either in manual sensitivity or in auto sensitivity, there have been times where after I've balanced and I'm going across the ground, I've had some very quick changes in ground mineralization, and the ground balance had a little bit of a hard time catching up. So I would use the quick track, because this has the same quick track as the Gold Monster. Press and hold the button, pump it up and down a few times with the coil flashing, release it, and it's re-ground balanced. Right now it's automatically ground balancing. It's just going to ground balance no matter what I do with it. So I've had this happen where I hear in this threshold, not really even a signal, but kind of a, well, I don't even know how to describe it, but a waver in the threshold. And I've stopped and I've gone back and I've re-ground balanced in those areas and found that the automatic ground balance didn't quite keep up. So I changed very severely from one ground mineralization to another, and the multi-AU handled it absolutely fine, but the ground balance was a little lacking in getting caught up. Well, those areas where I was hunting, those are generally seams, and there's been gold that has come out of those seams. So identifying those things are great, and then being able to work across them. So the threshold is very, very, very important. That's about it. That's your demonstration on the multi-AU. Picking the right ground, either benign, normal, or difficult, the threshold, and absolutely the echo wave. All right, gang, let's go back to the truck. I want to talk to you about the outside of the Gold Monster 2000. I hope you enjoyed that demonstration, and I got to tell you, it is absolutely amazing. There, I wasn't going to use amazing or incredible or anything else like that, but it's, you know, okay, it leaked out. It's, to me, it's just, I'm overly impressed on how this machine handles the ground mineralization, and targets are not affected. Okay, so I've talked a lot about how it works and what it does and all these other things, but you know, let's talk about the outside real quick. So the control pod, as I said, the control pod looks exactly like a Gold Monster 1000. It is, but there's a couple of new things. There's an extra button here for the echo wave, and it is now rain proof, not waterproof. It's rain proof. So if you're out and it starts to rain, no more putting a Ziploc bag over the control box just so you keep on going without you know, dicing out your unit. The next thing is that it has a carbon fiber upper rod, a carbon fiber mid rod, and a very hard fiberglass lower rod. Thank you, guys. I don't like carbon fiber all the way down. I seem like there's some flexibility in it that I don't like, and I've had some falsing because of it. So this is a very rigid setup, and it's ultra lightweight. And here's something else. It's got these really cool cam locks on it that are just really simple to use and simple to adjust, not like some of them I've seen where you have to, I've got a screw right here. But here's the cool thing. Now the Gold Monster 2000 almost fits into my carry-on luggage. All right, gang. Look, like I said, I was going to do this great big long video, but I figured the only thing you really wanted to do was see how it worked. And this is how it works and what it does. And it is an absolutely outstanding new technology created by Minelab that is going to just shake the world of VLF gold prospecting. Hey, keep an eye out for the other videos on the Gold Monster 2000. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified every time a new Gold Monster 2000 video comes up. So that's it. I'm going to get out of here and go play with this machine a little bit more. So be good to yourself, be good to others, and go find me some gold with your brand new Gold Monster 2000.